She got cheated on, she walked away, she spoke up, and now she's being dragged. But what if the hate says more about us than it does about her? In this video, we are not just talking about Wizard Liz's life, we are unpacking the hate, the projection, and why this backlash isn't really about her at all. She left a good man because she was bored. Rebound relationship equals instability. Pregnancy and quick marriage, red flag. What this actually shows deep projection. People often romanticize stable men even when the relationship isn't fulfilling. A relationship can be safe and still be stifling. They are uncomfortable with a woman who acts quickly on her intuition. But men do this all the time, and it's called decisive. The common diagnoses her with trauma and labels her insane, which is a classic way society invalidates any woman who makes bold life choices. Leaving a relationship that no longer aligns with your growth isn't recklessness, it's clarity. You don't get called unstable for moving fast. When you're a man, you get called a go getter.
I started talking to this guy. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm actually like, I don't see a point in dating, so let's not even label it as anything. And I think he took it the other way around for like just a couple of months. Times you spend 10 years or 20 years with the person and you still don't know them. So it's not about timing. It's just how about how you feel.
This comment says, Liz called Landon's ex a sugar baby, even though these are allegations against Liz herself. First of all, allegations aren't facts. You can't defend one woman's choices while shaming another for rumors. That's not feminism, that's selective morality. They also say Liz made Landon look like the victim. But he cheated on her. She's the one who was hurt. Twisting that narrative just shows how uncomfortable people are with a woman expressing pain and moving on. And about her paying his 40K debt, that's being labeled pick me energy. No, it's called love and loyalty. And many of us have done things we regret in love. Punishing someone for being generous says more about you than her. This isn't hate rooted in logic, it's projection and in double standards. People don't hate Liz because she's wrong, they hate her because she didn't stay silent after being hurt. She invited a man on a girls' trip, fell in love in 36 hours. She's weak. People equate emotional openness with weakness. They can't digest a woman being in love without losing her boss girl identity. It's easier to accuse a public woman of being fake than to accept that strong people still get attached quickly. So now women can't fall in love quickly without losing credibility. Sounds more like we are punishing her for being emotionally available while also preaching authenticity at her. What if she was just being real? This comment says Liz is a hypocrite for defending her ex, someone who cheated on her and was allegedly abusive. First, if she did speak about him with compassion, it doesn't automatically mean she's defending the abuse. Healing isn't always loud. Sometimes people try to move on with grace even if it confuses others. Calling her a hypocrite or pick me because she isn't reacting with rage says more about our expectations than her actions. Not every woman chooses revenge. Some chooses closure, and using slurs like pick Misha just proves how quickly people drop their values when they're angry. This isn't holding someone accountable. This is emotional whiplash disguised as moral high ground. First of all, her dating choices are not your business. When Liz ended her relationship because she felt it wasn't helping her evolve, that wasn't toxicity, that was self awareness. Since when did protecting your peace become a crime? The line, let men pay for their lust. This is the line that broke the internet. But before you twist it, let's unpack what she really meant. She wasn't saying use men for money. She was saying if men are approaching women only for sex, don't expect women to give emotional labor, nurturing, or energy for free. She's addressing an unequal transaction. That's not toxic, that's a reality check. If you're treating women as objects, don't be surprised if they treat you like a customer. It's funny how men should pay offends people more than men see women as sexual conquests. She says, don't settle, don't chase, don't shrink. That's not toxic, that's a boundary, and it threatens people who are used to women being quiet, soft, and endlessly forgiving. Is she perfect? No. Does she evolve publicly? Yes. And that's why people relate. She's not selling fake perfection. She's showing the mess, the rebuild, the rebound. What really toxic is people hating on women for choosing themselves. What's toxic is holding women to superhuman standards and dragging them the moment they become vulnerable or messy. You want strong women, but when they show strength that doesn't serve you, suddenly it's a problem. Liz isn't toxic. She's just not performing femininity for your own comfort anymore. She's living, learning, healing, and sometimes saying the uncomfortable truth out loud. And maybe that's what scares people the most. Instead of hiding, she was raw and open about breakup and cheating. She showed that even the most graceful women can be lied to, and even then, they don't lose their worth. Her pregnancy stirred controversy, but why? Because we expect our feminine icons to be invincible, not vulnerable. But femininity isn't just elegance, it's also bleeding, breaking, rebuilding, and birthing a new life in every sense. Maybe this is what healing really looks like, not curated perfection, but standing tall while everything breaks around you. This drama may mark the end of the idealized Liz, and it's the beginning of the real, raw woman behind the mic. You can disagree with how she said something. You can feel like her delivery is harsh or that she generalizes. That's fair, but there's a difference between critique and character assassination, calling her a gold digger, saying she deserves heartbreak, mocking her for being pregnant. That's not accountability. That's cruelty. That's projection. That's fear trying to dress up as righteousness. Let's be real. Some of this hate, it's jealousy. Not the I want what she has kind, but the deeper kind. The envy of someone who actually lives by the boundaries she talks about. She left a relationship she outgrew. She built an empire by being authentic. She speaks up even if it costs her approval. That confidence, that power, that clarity, it triggers people who have never given themselves that permission. So the narrative becomes she thinks she's better than us, when in reality, she's just doing the work some people avoid. Let's zoom out. Society doesn't know what to do with a woman who doesn't beg for love, who doesn't settle, who says no without guilt. She becomes threatening, cold, not feminine. So, you don't have to agree with the wizard list. You don't even have to like her content. But before you cancel her, ask yourself, why am I so angry at a woman who for choosing herself? What part of me feels attacked by her confidence? Am I hating her or for doing what I secretly wish I could do? She's not perfect, but she's powerful. And sometimes the hate you see isn't about her at all. It's just fear, afraid that more women will stop playing small.